Do you suffer from neck pain, that tension in the base of your head that goes down into your shoulders? And it seems like no matter how much you work those muscles, the tension and the pain keeps coming back. Well, you might be surprised to learn that the tension in the back of the head could be caused from the muscles being stretched and then compressed in the front or on the side. And so today we're going to go into the causes behind neck pain, some of the symptoms, and some of the indirect symptoms you may feel that you don't always link to neck pain. And then we're also going to discuss some stretches and some exercises and some other personal care things you can do at home to find relief for your neck. When we think of the neck area, we want to think of it as a multiple system area, just like the rest of our body. We have the bones, so we have C1 through C7 that provide the structure to our neck and holding our head. And then also we have the ligaments and the muscles. The ligaments connect the muscles to the bones. And then in between the vertebrae, we have what's called discs. And if those discs get compressed and squished down and they bulge out, you may have heard of herniations and different type of things that can happen to the disc. It can impinge on the nerves, some major nerves that go in and out, causing numbness or tingling in various parts of the upper body, especially down into the arms and hands. And then also you have what's called fascia. And fascia is like the saran wrap that holds everything together. It's around all of our tissues, our muscles, our joints. It's the glue that holds everything together. And then when that gets dehydrated and there isn't enough fluid getting to the area, it can't create a glide and a movement. So what happens is your neck becomes more stiff. You can't rotate it as well. You can't bend it to the side. And you might also start experiencing a lot of headaches as well, because when all this tension is between the muscles and the fascia, when all this tension is here in the neck, what it's doing is it's compressing on the arteries and the capillaries that provide the blood flow to the head. And then it also is impinging down on the lymph flow coming in and out of the head, because you might notice, especially when you wake up in the morning, especially if you have a very stiff neck, you might have a lot of congestion right here and your head just feels full and your face might feel a little puffy. Well, what happens is if there's all that tension going on all around your neck, that fluid, especially when the fluid drains out of your head at night, that is not able to move in and out freely. And so it creates more pressure in your head and can create some pretty nasty headaches. And headaches are very common with a lot of people, and it's highly searched online as far as what people can do about them, because they can be a very big part of their lives. There are two causes of neck pain that I would like to discuss now. The first one has to do with muscle imbalances and structural misalignment. Many times we will feel when our neck hurts really bad, we'll feel the pain right here, right at the base of the head. And especially if we've been on the computer a long time, or we've been looking down at our phone a lot, or maybe even sitting in bed watching TV or on a couch or a sofa, and we're just kind of leaned forward and curved forward. So what that does is it's stretching all of this out. So it's kind of like imagine a band tied here like a rubber band, and you're moving it down and it's stretching that rubber band out. So of course everything's attaching at the attachments, the ligaments, the fascia, everything is getting pulled and it's tight and it's pulling down. So it's your body's way of trying to keep your head from going too far forward. So it's putting all this pressure on these muscles back here. So if you massage that, and that's the only area you work on and you keep massaging it, it might actually make the problem worse. It could temporarily help, feel great, but if the opposite side is not considered and taken care of, it's just going to keep coming back. So when we're in that position where we're looking down at our phones or on a computer or anything where our arm's in front of us, then this whole area is getting shortened. It's getting brought down. Everything's getting stretched here. So what you want to do is you want to bring this up, and it'll take the pressure off of that. And then those muscles can naturally relax on their own without being forced to relax. And same principle for if you have pain on the side of your neck. If you have pain and you look in the mirror and one side is going like this, but you're feeling the pain over here, it's the same principle. It's because the muscles and the ligaments and the connective tissue over here where everything is attached is getting pulled on because of this being shortened. So what you want to do is you want to stretch out this side, and then this side will naturally start relaxing because that pulling tension will be taken off of it. The second cause I'm going to cover has to do with nerve impingement and muscle spasms. Many times we think, okay, it's the muscle. If we just massage the muscle, then we get the muscle relaxed and everything's great. But within a short period of time, that muscle gets tight again. Massage it out, relax, gets tight again. When that keeps happening over and over, when you've had regular massages and done a typical thing that temporarily helps, and it keeps coming back, it very likely is more of a nerve impingement type of situation, because when the nerve is impinged, what it does is it misfires in its communication to the muscle. So it misfires and it causes that muscle to lock up and spasm, because that's your body's natural protective way of when there's pain. It usually guards. It hangs on, so it immobilizes, so that way there's no movement to cause any injury. But the problem with that is when you're trying to relax that muscle, that nerve is impinged. So you relax the muscle, the nerve's still impinged, so it's going to respasm the muscle. So you relax the muscle, nerve is impinged, going to respasm the muscle. So it just becomes this pain, pretty much pain spasm loop that you want to get out of. And as far as where the nerve impingement can happen, many times it's in between the vertebrae, such as like I was discussing earlier, the disc, or if there's just in general compression. If everything's really tight and you have been looking forward like that for a long time and you're in that pattern, the pattern itself can mess with the nerves and cause those spasming, like I say, as a protective guard for your body, so that way it stays immobile and there's no fast moves or anything that could injure it. Now I'm going to discuss some helpful stretches and exercises that may help you with your neck pain. The first one is a side tilt stretch. When you look, like I say, when you look in the mirror, you'll usually notice if you have pain on one side of the neck, it will be kind of turned one way, or you may even notice the whole head will be kind of shifted to one side or the other on your shoulder. So what you can do is the side that's shortened and feels like it's going down like that, or feels like it's pulling over to the side, you definitely want to stretch that out. So say this side was going like this, where it was stretched out, and this side is the side that's getting shortened. You want to bring your head up and then take the opposite side and then drop your arm. And what you can do is you can also bring your arm down like this and just very slowly pull that into your neck. And what you can do is you can do it from different angles, and you will feel, a lot of times you will feel it go clear up into your scalp all the way, and you might find it's an area that originates with some of your headaches. So it refers. A lot of these areas in through here have what's called trigger points, which are tight bands that can refer pain to other areas on out from where it's at. So it doesn't stay local, it goes into other areas. So when you do this, you want to, like I say, you want to do it very, very slow, because if you force it too much, you can create what's called tiny micro tears, which the micro tears can get into the ligaments and into the muscle, and it's actually going to create more pain. So you don't want to overdo it. And especially if your neck has been like that for a long time, it's usually not going to have too much give. So that's why you want to work slow. And because it can be very, very painful. So as you bring it down, what else you can do is to kind of help with the connective tissue and loosening that up. You can take your hand and you can take it and just engage the tissue. Not like super hard, but enough that you're pulling the skin, and slowly bring it down. And even get down to where it goes into your shoulder. And a lot of times you'll feel this pull that goes right up into this crevice here of your shoulder, because all these muscles come here and they connect down into the shoulder. So you pretty much don't want to just work the neck in isolation. You also want to work down into the shoulder, because it's all connected as far as connections up here, connections down into here. So it's one big, long, multiple layered muscle that goes through here. So like I say, just grab the connective tissue and bring it down. And then what you can do is you can straighten up and engage it, and then slowly bring it down. And like I say, you will feel that line going clear down into your shoulder. And if you can, try to get up, clear up into this attachment here and work it down. And if you want, you could even kind of turn, so that way you're getting it from a different direction. And that should help with your rotation. So you can turn and go all the way down, turning your head like that. And it's actually, sometimes it can even give you goosebumps, just because it's opening up all the nerves through there. And it might tingle a little bit, because this is technically a form of myofascial release, which is releasing the fascia by pulling it down like this, and it helps realign the fibers, so that way you can get fluid into the area, and it creates more mobility, so you can rotate and bend and do what you should. So then, if you don't have too much of a one-sided feeling, where both sides, your whole neck is just stiff in general, you can go ahead and do the other side and make sure you get both sides. And usually you can feel the connective tissue, the fascia, tighter on one side more than the other side, even if you don't have a major imbalance. It just could be the connective tissue is very dried out, and so it's restricting your movement over your entire neck. So just like the other side, you want to go slow and come down and just feel your body, listen to your body. And you can even take your palm and go back like this, and that will also help break up or realign that connective tissue as well. And you can even take your hand, take it here, and you can pull up. Just pull up like that and come all the way around. And that feels pretty good too. So then that connects your upper back into your neck as well. So it can tingle. Sometimes it can burn a little bit. A little bit of a burn feeling is okay. It's not like an uncomfortable burn, like heat or anything like that. But you will definitely feel it. And just doing that, I'm like tingling in my arms and hands. I need to do it more often myself. But you will notice a big difference just doing that. And when you're doing the stretches on the side, I don't know if you noticed, but you might like stretch into it and then back off a little bit. Stretch into it, hold it for, a few seconds, or a few, maybe up to 10, 15 seconds, depending on your body. If you get too sore, come back and just do it in shorter amounts. And then as far as doing that throughout the day, you could try, if your neck's been stiff for a long time, you could probably do it when you get up during your lunch time for your lunch breaks, especially if you've been sitting a lot. And then a huge important one is before you go to bed. It's important before you go to bed because you don't want to take that tension in your sleep with you, because that can interrupt your sleep. That pain can keep you awake in your head. And then also by releasing the tension at night before you go to sleep, it helps that fluid and everything drain like it should more. So now it's the same situation with the front of the neck. We want to take it and so many layers of muscles all through here. And like I say, that's a big part where your drainage is for your sinuses. So you can take your hand, not choke yourself, of course, but just slightly take it and pull back and even down into this area here, because there's a muscle called the sternocleidomastoid, the SCM muscle, that attaches from here and it goes to here. So, and it's responsible for that movement and even some of the rotation that we do. And that can have a lot of triggers through that as well. So you want to make sure to loosen that up. It can be a source of a lot of headaches, big time, especially the attachment of that muscle. So you want to make sure to really get in, and you can even go to the side and back, go down, and you want to remember not to push too hard, because there are some major blood vessels and some arteries through here. So you want to be very careful and not push on those. And you will feel where you can and can't go. And the thing is, what's interesting is when you hit here and you're getting up into this area of the ear, you may feel it clear inside the inner side of your ear. It's kind of a weird feeling, but it also helps open that up too. It's not hurting your ear or anything like that. It's just, like I say, that connective tissue is around everything. So it's like a web that goes over your whole body. So when you do something to one part of it, it will go outward and affect other areas as well. So of course, you want to do both sides, bring it down, and make sure you get into collarbone area. And you can even come like right here, right below the collarbone area, and do that, because then that will help loosen up that collarbone to bring the collarbone back, which also goes up into the attachments for the neck muscles as well. So you just keep going and work those, work up into here, pull it down. And there's also muscles that come clear up underneath your jaw. And you can take your fingers and just go back like that. And even if you want to, you can move your jaw out. So by opening all of this up, it takes it, your head just naturally sits back better. So you're not like trying to force it back. So it sits back and it takes so much pressure off the base of your head. And it should help a little bit as far as the tension that's causing your neck pain and possibly even your headaches. Some exercises that I like to do for the neck and to reduce neck pain is to help strengthen the side of the neck that is stretched out, so the weaker side, because if you're going this way, you get this stretched out, but yet this side is still weak and stretched out. It's going to keep going back too. So you want to create the balance on the other side. So you want to strengthen the opposite side. So you usually want to strengthen the parts that's stretched out, so that way it comes together more, and then lengthen the parts that are contracted and comes together more, so that way you can create that balance. And what I enjoy doing is, if you lay on your bed, and usually I don't promote side sleeping or anything like that, but for this it works great, because if you lay on the side on your bed and say this is the side that's stretched out, and if you lay on your right side, you can take your head and slowly bring it up to engage these muscles on the opposite side. And you want to do it slowly, so it's not super strenuous and you can feel what's going on in the muscle. And you want to do those, like I say, it's kind of like the stretches, where you want to start, if you have got really bad neck pain, start with maybe 4 or 5 at a time, and then work up to it from there. Like I say, you always want to listen to your body. You can do that even 3 times too. It's almost better to do shorter reps multiple times during the day than it is one big long session, because that way what you can do is you can do the exercises to get that into, to get the fluid moving and everything in the fascia and the muscles. And then in between, you can drink a lot of electrolyte water. So each time you do it, it will create more fluid going into the tissues, and it should start creating more mobility. And similar to the side lift that I just showed, you can do the same similar type of thing on the back side. What I usually do is, if you can lie face down and then slowly bring your head backwards towards your back. And then same situation, just do a few reps, maybe 3 times a day to start out with, and you will feel it strengthening all the way through there. And then that will also add to holding your head back and taking the tension off of those muscles in the back, because you've already stretched this out. So it's creating that balance by doing the strengthening in the back. So like I say, even if you want to kind of get close to the edge of the bed and then kind of have your arms underneath and then just stretch towards the back, like doing an extension, that can help rebalance that whole area. So like I said earlier, you want to remember the whole body is connected. So when it comes to neck pain, it's often not localized there. It's usually as a result of another imbalance. So when you're sitting like this all day long, your shoulders are pulled down, what's happening is everything's getting pulled forward like that. And so when it does that, all these, like I said earlier, everything's attached from here down to here. So when this is brought forward like that, it is shifting how the pull is on the muscles that go up into the neck. So by having your shoulders back and more level and realigned, it opens this space up and it takes all the pressure off of back here, because same principle as you're opening this up, you want to keep going on down the torso to help open everything up, especially if you sit a lot. So I do have a video that goes into shoulder pain, and there are many, many good stretches and exercises for that area. And I go into more depth with that. I'll put the link at the end of this video and down in the description as well. So those, in conjunction with what I am showing in this video and with that video, it will help open up the whole upper body, so that way it takes the pressure off of the neck. Another very important exercise that you want to do is just to go for a walk. Get up, move around, because what that does is it creates the fluid that goes throughout the whole body and helps increase the circulation, and it gets the nutrients and the electrolytes and the minerals into the tissue and into the joints and into the muscle. That will help rehydrate and provide nourishment for those areas in the neck that are causing you pain. Now I'm going to discuss some self-care things you can do at home in addition to the stretches and the exercises that we just discussed. The first one that I'm going to cover is tractioning, because as I discussed earlier, if there's compression in between the vertebrae, that's going to impinge on the nerve. It's going to cut down the circulation, the lymph flow, all of that. So you want to try and to open that up. And it's best to do tractioning, personally, I feel, after you do the stretches and the strengthening. And what that does is it balances everything. It releases things. So that way, when you do the tractioning, there is more give to do the traction and open up the space in between the vertebrae, allowing more of that fluid flow and the nerve transmission that are around those joints. So one thing I like to do is I like to take a big bath towel. Usually everybody has a bath towel. So I will fold it like that. And then so I can have it at various heights. Sometimes I don't want it as thick. Sometimes I want it less thick. So you can take the folded side and you can roll it down and just keep rolling it. And then you can create any size of neck roll that you want. I like using a big towel like this because it keeps my head stable. I don't have to worry about trying to balance on something small under my neck. And it feels really good that way. And then, or what you can do too, is you can start the roll out smaller. Then just lay on that for a little bit, let your neck relax, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to put the curve back into your neck, especially if you have like a straight or military neck. So it's missionary neck. It's very straight up and down. There's very little curve in the neck, which puts more pressure on those joints in the vertebrae. So in order to get that curve back in your neck, you can start it out as a lower roll and then lay on that for a little bit. And then over time, either during that session that you're doing it or multiple other sessions later on, you can increase the size. So that way it gradually increases the space between the vertebrae more and more. And especially as you're doing the stretches and the exercises that we discussed earlier, you should notice a lot of decrease in pain in that area, a lot of decrease in the muscle tension, less pressure in the head just by relaxing things, strengthening the muscles that have been stretched out, and opening that space in between the vertebrae. The next thing I'm going to discuss for self-care is trigger point release. Now I have this device. It's called the Back Knobber 2. They still sell it on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. But there are also other ones of various sizes you can get. You can look up trigger point tool. You can look up trigger point cane. Like I say, maybe get 2 or 3 and check which ones work best for you. Like I say, they're in different sizes. So everybody's frames are a little bit different. Some people are more muscular and a little thicker boned and that kind of thing. So you're generally going to need a bigger one. But a smaller frame works better with a smaller one. The one I like about this one is it's got a small area and a larger area depending on what you're working on in your body. But with the trigger point, as I said earlier, it's a very, very tight band of muscles that when it's pressed on, it can refer pain locally and refer pain to other areas. And what's very interesting is there's muscles even down in your shoulder blade area here that when you release those, you might notice when you press on it and turn your head, it goes all the way up into your head. And I'll attach a diagram as B-roll so you guys can see that. So what I do is I just take it and I just start working down. I go by my shoulder blade. I always start lower or higher than the area that hurts that I'm working on. So what you'll do is you'll just feel around for any knots. And you'll feel that knot and your body will tell you when it's on it. And sometimes you'll feel it kind of go zzz, it'll spasm on you. And that's a sign that it's a good spot because it's a hyperreactive area that needs worked on and needs that worked out. So you'll just hold it and you will feel the referral. And as it releases, the referral should get less and less as far as feeling it in other areas. So there are multiple trigger points along here. Like I say, just feel, your body will tell you. And then there's some right along the top here. That one especially right there that sticks up. A lot of times it's right by the point of the shoulder, the upper shoulder blade point here. So same principle as the neck stretches. You want to just gradually sink in. Don't force it. Because it could cause too much pain and then that triggers your nervous system to overreact to it and guard. So you don't want to do that. So by slowly sinking in, it allows for that release. And then you just go to different areas. And like I say, there's one on the shoulder blade. I can already feel it because of doing massage a lot. This area gets very tight for me. But when I press on it and put that pressure on it, I will feel it clear up into my neck and in the side of my head. So you just hold it for, what do I usually do? Pretty much until I feel the release when it sinks in, which depends on how tight you are. If you're not like super tight in the area you go in, it could be a few seconds. If it's super tight, it might take a minute or 2 or 3. Just hold it there and gradually sink in. And this is another great thing to do before you go to bed at night, is to release all of those points that are causing that referral pain, because you'll notice that after a while, when those trigger points, those referral pain patterns go down and quit reacting, you might notice you sleep a little bit better, especially if you tend to be restless at night, just because it's like you can't get comfortable and you're moving and you're moving. part of what that is you are having, that's the tension from the day that's not released. And so your body's trying to find a great position to get rid of that tension in. So if you let go of that tension and release all those areas before you go to sleep, it makes a big difference in your quality of sleep. And so you just go on both sides and feel for those spots. Like I say, work in. And you can use this on your entire spine, really, but I'm just showing right now different spots that can directly and indirectly affect the neck. So there's some more spots if you go in there and get those spots. And what you can do too is, because sometimes the shoulders are not only getting rolled forward like this, they're also getting pulled down. If this is tight and everything under here, these muscles are getting shortened. It's pulling the top of your shoulder down. And of course, when that shoulder gets pulled down, it's also pulling on the attachments and the muscle that's going up into the attachment of your head. So your neck starts getting sore. So like I say, it's all connected. So what you can do is, there's like the latissimus muscle, there's subscat, there's a whole bunch of different muscles underneath here, and it will feel very ropey for you. So you can take the trigger point tool, and this one's a good one. It will really feel that. When you hit this one, it will go down into the arm. So you'll find, I can already feel it. When you release these muscles underneath, and it's just right underneath your shoulder blade, the bottom of your shoulder blade, and you'll just feel around there. It can refer down into your upper arm. And after a while, as that releases, the shoulder actually starts rolling backwards. Instead of being pulled down, it's brought up and it's brought back, which again takes the pressure off of this upper area here. And what you can do too is you can take the tool and follow along on this SCM muscles, like I say, where it attach here and attach here, and especially get up in the attachment at the base of the head, and it will be tight and it will be sore and it will refer like crazy. It refers down my neck, it refers up over my head, it'll refer sometimes into your ear. So if you have a lot of ear issues and that kind of thing, that might be as a result of the trigger point that's sending that referral to that area in your neck. And so follow this muscle, and there are multiple trigger points in this muscle that can refer to other areas, like the one I'm on now goes down into the inside of my shoulder on the upper part, and you just keep going down and eventually get down into that attachment. And even if I go here, I can still feel it up into my ear. So you want to make sure to cover all those. And then, basically try any muscle that you can feel. All of these muscles, that one's a good one. You have muscles where they attach here and attach down below. So a lot of times neck and low back issues will go hand in hand, just due to the connection and the imbalances and the compensation of the muscle. So just go around the neck, and sometimes just kind of wiggle in, and you can kind of feel it that way too. And then just hold it there. And these are so many good points that affect not only neck pain, but headache pain as well. I'm going to do another video separate from this, just on headaches, to help people out. So yeah, you just want to keep going down, and you can even get down into these. Like I say, you do want to be careful as far as any major nerves or arteries or veins or anything like that. Be careful with that. But as you do these points, and you can actually kind of combine that with the stretching I was telling about earlier. So where you just kind of hold it, stretch it just a little bit, and it will be tight. It pulls up the back of the head. Feels like it's almost like it's in your skull. And then bring it down, and then stretch again, and then bring it down. Hold it a little bit each time. And as you do this, you'll find each time you'll be able to move farther and farther. And now doing that, I have a lot of tingling in my fingers, which is good because then it's opening all of that up. And doing this every day, again, before you go to bed, makes a huge difference. Another option, if you don't have the trigger point tool that you can use, is a simple tennis ball and a wall. So you can take the tennis ball and put it behind and then lean up against a wall. And it's the same principle. You lean up against the wall and you feel for those knots. And then when you find a knot, you just want to kind of sink into it. And the wall is also great for the ones on the sides here too. Those ones that are in your shoulder blade that I say refer up into your shoulder and your neck as well. So if you don't have the trigger point tool, you can use this for your back. As far as working on the sides of the neck, sometimes what I can use too is if you have silverware that has a very thick rounded end on it. I've showed that to some of my clients, something that they may already have. And if it has that thick rounded, you definitely don't want something pointy or sharp or anything like that, or thin. You want something that has a thick curved end on it. And it'll be the same principle. You just feel for those spots and you push it in. Not like crazy push in, and don't force it. Sink into it. And it'll be the same principle as the trigger point tool. Trigger point tool is a little handier, but if that's what you have at home already, these can be great effective tools as well. The tennis ball, a wall, and then also the blunt end of some type of either utensil or maybe even a tool that you have. Some other self-care items include hot pack or cold pack. You want to use a hot pack when your muscles are really tense and they just need to relax and circulation brought to the area. But if your muscles are hot, they may have undergone too much strain. There might be those mini micro tears that I was telling you about earlier. And when it's hot, you want to bring that heat out of it. So a cold pack works great. I notice sometimes when I feel a lot of pressure and tension and soreness, before I go to bed, I will get a cold pack and lay on that for a little bit. And it does a lot in taking that heat out. Sometimes it helps really great with headaches as well. If you get a lot of those occipital or those lower headaches here in the base of the head, it can do a lot to help with that. Another item that I like that's helped me and some of my clients is a red light therapy belt. I went into that a little bit for helping low back, but you can also use it around your neck as well. You have to just be really careful because it's very, very bright if you get one that's really intense. What the red light therapy does is it relaxes everything, relaxes the muscle, but it also brings circulation to the area, which brings nutrients to the area, which helps it heal faster. And you want to find a red light therapy belt or some type of red light therapy device that has multiple levels to it so you can adjust the intensity of it. When I use mine, I usually start it up as the highest level. Unfortunately, they don't sell the one that I use anymore, but I've had clients find other great ones. So, and then I gradually lower the intensity so that because it gets really hot, so I can't handle the heat that much. But I do notice a huge difference in the reduction of my pain, and sometimes the area will itch because the circulation's coming to the area, and I'm able to move a little bit better as well. Another item to look at for self-care is our posture. We want to look at how we sit, not only at our jobs, but how we drive. Do we lean to one side on the console? Do we lean to one side of the armchair? How are our different monitors set up on our workstation? If we work with multiple monitors, say we have one monitor we look at more so than the other. So what that's doing is we have this constant rotation in this position that you can even be twisting your lower back and feeling your lower back as well. So any place you put your head in a certain position for several hours a day, eventually, as you can see, like I said earlier, if this side is getting stretched out, the side is getting compressed, you're going to start feeling it, especially at the attachment. And you're going to have a lot of tension, especially this SCM muscle, it's pulling all that coming through here. So you want to make sure, if you do tend to look at one monitor a lot, put the monitor more in the middle, or whatever screens you're working on or apps you have open, utilities you have open, so that way it's more in front of you. My favorite thing, I had a 42-inch curved monitor and I absolutely loved it. it saves so much, because if you have multiple monitors side by side, you have a gap between each monitor. When you have the curved monitor, it cuts down that gap. So it's a lot easier to scan without completely turning your head so far to look at monitors farther on the outside. Self-care technique to help take the pressure out of the head. Say we have everything relaxed and we've got the tractioning done. Now everything's opened up so the fluid can flow more freely. So what we can do is we can start doing some sinus work to really help drain the fluid that has been backed up in the face and in the head, to get that out. And I actually did a video on helping with sinus pressure relief. I'll put that at the end of this video as well, and then also down in the description. That will help continue getting everything moved and that pressure out. So that way there's less pressure in the head, there's less tension on those attachments, and everything can move and flow freely and get the nutrients and the fluid where it needs to be. The last thing I'm going to discuss is sleep posture. As far as the best neck pillow for neck pain, I don't really have a specific recommendation because everyone is different. One pillow that works great for one person hurts another person. So you just have to, through trial and error, find what works for you. I personally am a back sleeper, so I don't sleep with a pillow. I sleep more with a neck roll because I sleep better flat on my back, so that way everything's not curved forward. And then I have, like I was showing you before, that neck roll that I was rolling up, I actually use that to sleep on, and by having it long like that, it kind of prevents my head from flopping around when I'm sleeping. So it keeps it straight and keeps that curve in my neck to go back. But a lot of clients I work on are side sleepers, and the biggest thing to remember is you can do everything you can. Say you're sitting in your chair right, you got your monitors right, you're doing your stretches and strengthening and all that for your neck, but then you go to sleep at night and your neck has absolutely no support if you're laying on your side. So you're laying on your side, gravity is pulling the cervical spine, your neck muscles and your vertebrae down towards the mattress. So it's the same principle as in your low back. When you sleep on your side, you want to provide support for your low back to counteract that hammock effect that goes on, and the same effect on your neck. You want to make sure that the bottom part of your neck is supported with a neck pillow or some type of roll or some type of cushion that keeps your neck, the spine of your neck, pushed up, so that way it's not dipping down. So a lot of problems with the side sleeping is when you're turned, you're sleeping on your side, but you usually are twisted someplace. So if your shoulder is twisted forward and you're sleeping on your side, it's pulling all of this up into your neck. So then in the morning, your neck's going to be sore and your shoulders could be sore. Your low back could be sore. So you also want to remember to have not only support here, but support underneath your low back as well, because it's the same effect where it can dip down, and then also pillows between your arms and your hands, and then also a pillow for support between your knees and your legs, so that way it keeps everything in balance. And you want to remember to always check with your physician for severities such as severe tingling, numbness, severe pain that may cause extreme headaches. You want to get those checked out by your doctor and make sure nothing more serious is going on. If this information has been helpful for you, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments, and feel free to like, subscribe, and share this information with someone that you care about who may be suffering from neck pain as well. And stay tuned for more self-care tips.